Left behind. Lyra was lying on the cold metal floor. Her arm was bleeding. Her breathing was slow and heavy. She looked up and saw the shuttle door closing. The voice of her commander echoed in her ear. Unit 7 has failed. Leave her. She's done. Lyra was Unit 7. Her team, her own people, were leaving her behind. She tried to move, but her leg was stuck under metal debris. The explosion had damaged the floor. She had helped her team escape, but no one helped her back. The last thing she saw was the shuttle flying away. Gone. They left her. The alien team had entered the enemy ship to steal a powerful device. Lyra was the youngest, the smallest, and the quietest of them. But she was smart. During the mission, something went wrong. The device was unstable. There was an explosion. Lyra had pushed her commander out of the fire and stayed behind. But they didn't wait for her. They didn't care. Now, the oxygen in her suit was running low. Her eyes were full of tears, but no one could see tears in space. She was alone. Suddenly, a shadow. Boots stepped near her face. Human boots. A strong hand reached down. A voice spoke, calm but strong. Hey, you're not done yet. She blinked. It was a human, a soldier. Captain Ray Carter. Why was a human here? She looked at him with confusion and fear. Why are you here? She asked weakly. Ray smiled just a little. I was nearby. I saw your signal. Couldn't just watch you die. He pulled the metal piece off her leg and lifted her up. She was light. Alien bones were thinner than humans. Ray placed Lyra gently on the medbed. He gave her oxygen and cleaned her wound. She watched him silently. No one had ever cared like this. Not even her own kind. You didn't have to save me, she said. Ray shrugged. Maybe, but I did. That's what humans do. She wanted to argue. Her people had always said humans were selfish, dangerous, wild. But this man, he was kind. He was brave. Ray looked at her through the glass. Ray had fought many battles. He had seen aliens lie, cheat, and kill. He never trusted them. But this girl, she didn't look dangerous. She looked lost, like a child forgotten by her own parents. His fingers moved across the screen. A warning flashed. Unknown signal detected. Someone was tracking them. He whispered to himself. Looks like we've got company. She walked into the control room slowly. You're being followed, she said. Ray nodded. Yeah, I saw it too. They want to finish it, she said coldly. Who? My people. They think I'm broken. A failed unit. They will destroy me. Ray turned to her. Do you think you're broken? She looked down. I don't know. I don't think you are, Ray said. His voice was calm, but honest. You risked your life for them. That's not failure. That's courage. She didn't know what to say. No one had called her brave before. Ray stood up fast. We have to move. Hold on. He started the ship's engines. Lyra sat beside him, watching stars fly past the window. What now? She asked. Now? Ray said. We survive. Together. She looked at him. His eyes were tired, but strong. For the first time in her life, she felt safe. They told the alien girl she was done. They left her in fire and dust. But a human stayed. He took her hand and changed everything. Ray stared at the blinking screen. A red dot was moving closer. It was fast. Too fast. They're coming, he said. Lyra stood beside him. Her eyes widened. That signal. It's my people. Ray glanced at her. They don't look friendly. The hawk shook as a small shockwave hit it. Ray held the controls steady. Lyra grabbed a rail to stay on her feet. Can we outrun them? She asked. Maybe, if I don't make any mistakes. Lyra didn't smile. Not yet. She still wasn't sure she could trust him. He was human. Her kind always said humans were selfish. But this one had saved her life. Ray flew low, near a belt of floating rocks. The enemy ship followed, bigger and stronger. I'm gonna try something risky, Ray said. You already are, Lyra replied. He smiled. Just a little. The ship dove straight into the asteroid field. Sharp turns. Narrow gaps. Rocks spinning. The enemy fired. A red plasma beam missed them by inches. Lyra closed her eyes for a second. She wasn't ready to die again. Ray checked the fuel. Half tank. He turned to Lyra. We can't keep running. We need a place to hide. Lyra thought for a second. There's an old mining moon nearby. My people abandoned it years ago. Coordinates. She entered them quickly. But Ray, that place is haunted. My team used to say something stayed behind. Ray raised an eyebrow. Good. If it scares your people, maybe they won't follow us. The old mining station stood silent. Rusted doors. Broken lights. No movement. Felt dead. Ray and Lyra entered slowly, flashlights in hand. Stay close, Ray whispered. You're scared? She asked. No, just cautious. There's a difference. The hallway echoed with each step. Machines clicked in the dark. Pipes hissed softly. It was too quiet. Suddenly, a noise. Metal clanging from deep inside. They both stopped. That wasn't us, Lyra said. Ray raised his blaster. They reached a control room with dusty monitors and broken chairs. Lyra powered up the console using alien tech. It flickered to life. They can't find us here easily, she said. Good. We need a few hours to fix the ship. Ray started opening his toolkit. Lyra sat beside him. She looked at him for a long time. Why are you helping me, really? She asked. Ray paused. Because you helped them. And they left you. So, no one should die alone. Lyra looked down. For the first time, she felt something warm inside her. Something new. Trust. She remembered her training. No emotions. No friendships. Only orders. She was trained like a machine. But now, she was starting to feel human. Ray jumped up. They're here. Already. They must have tracked the heat signal from our landing. Lyra ran to the window. Shadows moved outside, tall, armored figures. They'll burn this place down, she said. Ray loaded his weapon. Then we go out a different way. Lyra remembered an old escape tunnel. She guided Ray to a hidden door in the floor. The tunnel was narrow and dark. It smelled of rust and oil. Ray walked behind her, watching her back. They heard blasts above. The enemy had entered the station. Too late. They were already gone. Ray flew the ship quietly in silent mode. No engine lights. No sound. They'll think we're still inside the building, he said. Lyra smiled slightly. You're smarter than you look. Ray laughed. Thanks, I think. Stars glittered outside the window. Lyra sat quietly, looking at them. Do you ever feel like you don't belong? She asked. Ray nodded. All the time. She leaned back in the seat. Maybe that's why we found each other. Lyra sat near the main window, looking at the stars. They were far from her home now, far from the people who left her behind. She whispered to herself, maybe I was never meant to go back. Ray was at the control panel. He didn't say much. He was focused, eyes scanning signals, hands ready on controls. Suddenly, the ship beeped. A new signal had appeared on the screen. Unknown structure detected. Small. Abandoned. No life signs. Ray looked at Lyra. Ever seen something like that before? She looked at the shape on the screen. Her eyes went wide. That's not possible. That's forbidden tech. The structure was deep underground. Ray landed the ship near an old landing pad, covered in dust and ice. Lyra hesitated before stepping out. This place, it's from before the war. My people banned it. Why? They said it was dangerous. They erased all records. Ray smiled slightly, which means it probably works really well. The walls were black stone mixed with glowing blue circuits. Symbols moved like liquid on the surfaces. Lyra walked ahead slowly. She reached out and touched the wall. It lit up under her fingers. It recognizes you, Ray said. I don't know how. I've never been here. As they moved deeper, they reached a round chamber. In the center was a floating crystal device. It was humming. Ray raised an eyebrow. Is that a weapon? No, Lyra said softly. It's a memory core. Light surrounded her. Images appeared, not in the air, but in her mind. She saw scientists, aliens, humans, working together, laughing, building. A voice echoed in her head. Project Unity. Hope for both species. Lyra staggered back. I saw the past. Ray looked at her carefully. Your people told you humans were enemies. But this place says the opposite. Lyra shook her head. They lied to us. Ray stored the data carefully. This could change everything. Proof that we worked together once. That we don't have to be enemies. Lyra looked at the glowing core. My people will destroy this if they find it. Then we don't let them. Suddenly, the walls began to glow red. A warning tone sounded. Lyra gasped. They found us. 2 fighters had locked on to the Hawk. Ray fired up the engines. Hold on. He dodged between rock pillars rising from the moon's surface. Blasts lit the sky behind them. Inside the ship, Lyra stared at the memory drive. This was more than just survival now. This was the truth. A voice fills the ship. Cold. Robotic. Lyra replied without fear. No. You left me. You don't get to silence me. Ray grinned. Nice one. He launched countermeasures and escaped into a nearby wormhole. The enemy ships couldn't follow. Everything was calm for a moment. Ray finally looked at Lyra. That tech reacted to you. You're not just part of their team. You're part of something bigger. Lyra nodded slowly. I think I was born for this. And I never knew. Long ago, before the war, there was peace. 2 species. 2 worlds. 1 dream, unity. But fear and power destroyed that dream. Now, 1 alien girl and 1 human soldier hold the last piece of that forgotten hope. Lyra, if we share this, they'll come after us harder. Ray, then we hit harder. She looked at him. I thought humans were dangerous. Ray smirked. We are. But not always in the wrong way. The stars twisted and snapped back into view. Ray held the ship's controls tight. Sweat on his forehead. The jump had been risky, but they made it. Lyra sat beside him, breathing hard. Are we safe? She asked. Ray checked the radar. No, not yet. Behind them, 3 red dots appeared. They followed us through the wormhole? Ray cursed under his breath. They're learning. Fast. The enemy ships were faster. Smaller. They moved like shadows, slipping between asteroid chunks and space ice. Inside the Hawk, warning lights blinked again. Missile lock. Incoming. Ray pulled the ship into a sharp roll. The missile exploded just behind them, close enough to shake the ship. Shields down to 30%. The system announced. Lyra looked at Ray. We can't outrun them forever. Ray didn't reply. He was thinking. Planning. His eyes shifted to Lyra. Remember that tech core we stole? Yes. Why? I think it's time we use it. The ship's lights flickered. Then, everything turned silent. A soft female voice echoed from the control panel. Legacy core activated. Searching compatible DNA found. Unit Lyra confirmed. Lyra's eyes widened. It knows me. The AI voice continued. Would you like to enable prototype shield mode? Ray laughed nervously. Now we're talking. Yes, Lyra said quickly. A soft blue field wrapped around the ship. Enemy missiles hit and bounced off. Ray shouted. You've got to be kidding me. That's alien-human tech combined, Lyra whispered. They hid this from both sides. Now, for the first time, they weren't running scared. Let's give them something to chase, Ray said. The ship flipped mid-space and flew straight toward the enemy. Lyra's hands held the seat tight. This is insane. Ray smirked. Insanity is my specialty. Laser blasts, missiles, dodging between space debris. But the Hawk was faster now. Smarter. The alien AI assisted Ray's flying, calculating perfect turns. 1 enemy ship exploded in bright red light. 2 left, Ray said. Care to take the next one? Lyra blinked. I don't know how to fight. Then learn fast. He handed her the co-pilot control stick. The ship seemed to move with her thoughts. The AI adapted to her mind. She closed her eyes for a second. Let instinct guide her. Target locked. Boom. Second ship destroyed. Her eyes opened slowly. I did it. Ray nodded, impressed. Yeah, you did. The last ship turned and jumped into lightspace. Coward, Ray muttered. But Lyra didn't smile. Her face was serious. They'll report everything. Next time it won't be just 3. Ray leaned back. Then we find a place to hide. Again. No, Lyra said firmly. It's time we stop hiding. Ray sat with a warm drink. Lyra stared at the stars again. You were trained to follow orders, he said. But now you're leading the way. She nodded slowly. My whole life, they told me I was a tool, a unit, replaceable. She looked at him. But you treat me like a person. Ray replied softly. That's because you are. A younger Lyra in training. Screaming voices. No comfort. No rest. No kindness. Back in the present, she clenched her hands. I don't ever want to be like them, she said. Ray placed a hand on her shoulder. Then don't be. The new coordinates were unknown. A system long erased from maps. But the memory core pointed here. A place called Arcadia. Lyra whispered. This is where it all began. Ray stared out the window. Let's see what they didn't want us to find. Chased across space. Hunted by their own. But the girl they left behind is no longer running. And the human who stayed? He's flying straight into the storm. Together, they carry not just the truth, but the spark of rebellion. The planet was quiet. No signs of life. No cities. Only ruins. Massive towers of crystal and metal stood half-buried in the sand, like bones from a forgotten god. Lyra stepped out of the ship. The wind blew softly. The air smelled familiar. I've never been here, she said. But something remembers me. Ray scanned the area. Feels like a graveyard. Lyra nodded. Maybe it is. At the center of the ruins was a dome, round, cracked, but pulsing with soft blue light. As they walked closer, the light grew stronger. The ground lit up beneath Lyra's feet. Ray stopped. It's responding to you again. Why me? She touched the dome. The surface opened silently, like it had been waiting for her. The air shimmered. Lights swirled around them like fireflies. A voice echoed, not through speakers but directly into their minds. Welcome, Prototype 0. Lyra froze. What did it say? Ray repeated slowly. It called you Prototype 0. Holograms appeared. Scenes of scientists, human and alien, building something. Or someone. A child. She looked like Lyra, but smaller. Wired. Scanned. Watched. A voice from the memory said, Project Unity, one life form made from both species. A living bridge. Ray whispered, They made you. Lyra stepped back, shaking her head. No, that's not me. That can't be me. But the memory continued. The girl in the hologram cried, screamed, was trained, punished. Subject shows emotional conflict. Recommend memory suppression. Ray looked at Lyra again. You didn't just join them. You were created by them. She sat on the floor, holding her head. Everything I knew. It's a lie. My name. My purpose. My past. Ray sat beside her. You're not their tool anymore. Then what am I? She asked softly. You're you, he said. Whatever you choose to be now. A voice filled the chamber, cold and sharp. Unit 0 has been found. Termination protocol engaged. Ray jumped to his feet. They're coming. Lyra stood too. Her eyes no longer full of fear. Let them. The ship rose fast. Ray at the controls. Lyra quiet but focused. She looked at the data they recovered from the dome. There are more like me, she said. Others they created. Others they abandoned. Ray turned to her. Then we find them. She saw children in glass chambers. Sleeping. Forgotten. Failed experiments. A voice had once called them. But now she saw them as brothers. Sisters. All used. All erased from memory. And all still out there. A voice came through. Return the asset. Or be destroyed. Ray looked at Lyra. She stepped forward. Pressed the comms button. You don't control me anymore. and I'm not an asset. You are property of the Unity Division. Lyra's voice turned sharp. Not anymore. The Hawk systems surged with power. A blast of energy shot from the ship, disabling the enemy's sensors. Just for a moment, enough to escape. They disappeared into light space. Ray made 2 cups of synth tea. Lyra sat across from him, staring at her hands. I'm not just alien or human, she said. I'm something in between. Something they tried to control. And failed to, Ray added. Because you're more than they imagined. She looked up at him. You stayed. When no one else did. I'm still here, Ray said. Then let's stop running. Lyra stood. Let's start fighting. She was made in secret. Designed to obey. Programmed to be forgotten. But now she remembers. And the one who stayed with her? He carries no code, only a choice. To stand with her or fall with the rest. The truth is out. And war is coming. The sky was red. Broken. Solar flares danced across the void like silent explosions. Ray stood at the window, watching light twist across the hull. Lyra entered quietly. She was no longer the same girl he had rescued. Her eyes were sharp now, her voice steady. They're closing in, she said. Ray nodded. We can still run. No, Lyra replied. This ends now. Lyra pointed at an abandoned relay station in neutral territory, once used to broadcast across galaxies. If we send the truth there, the data, the memories, the faces of the forgotten, it will spread everywhere. Ray looked at her. And the moment we do that, they'll try to wipe us off the map. Lyra's answer was simple. Let them come. The Hawk docked with a hiss. Inside, the station was dark, like it had been waiting in silence for years. Dust floated like mist. Old tech flickered weakly. Ray and Lyra worked fast. We have one shot, Ray said. Once we start the upload, it can't stop. Lyra plugged in the memory core. The station came alive, humming, glowing. Dozens of ships. Not just her people. Ray's screen flashed. Multiple factions detected. United response confirmed. They're all coming, Lyra whispered. Aliens. Humans. Everyone who doesn't want the truth. Ray pulled out a blaster. Tossed her one. Then let's give them something real to fear. The camera blinked on. She spoke slowly, clearly. My name is Lyra. I was built to be silent. Trained to obey. Created to be nothing. But I remember now. I remember everything. Images flashed, the children in tubes, the Unity Project, the betrayals. They erased us. Hid us. Buried the truth under fear. But we're still here. I'm still here. She looked into the camera. And I'm not alone anymore. Alarms echoed across the station. Ray checked the doors. They're cutting through. Lyra didn't move. The upload was at 63%. We hold the line, she said. Ray laughed softly. You sound like a soldier now. I sound like myself, she answered. Ray and Lyra fought back to back. Alien troops flooded the corridors, cold, faceless, mechanical. Ray's blaster roared. Lyra used her mind, tapping into the memory tech, bending energy around her like a shield. One enemy grabbed her arm. She didn't flinch. You are property of. She broke free, eyes glowing. I'm no one's property. Ray was hit, fell to his knee. Blood. Keep going, he yelled. Lyra turned, fear in her voice for the first time in a long time. Ray! He smiled, pained but proud. Don't stop. Not now. She screamed. The core inside her glowed white-hot. A pulse blasted through the station. Not killing, but freezing every enemy in their place. Ray looked up. You did that. She nodded, shaking. I didn't know I could. The screen blinked. Data seeded to 3,000 relay points. The truth is free. Lyra fell to her knees, breathing hard. Ray crawled over. You did it. We did it, she whispered. This changes nothing. Lyra stood, blood and dust on her face. It changes everything. The world saw what you hid. The commander's screen blinked out. They were retreating, because they lost. Ray and Lyra rushed back to the Hawk. Flames followed. They escaped with seconds to spare. The war was not over, but something had shifted. The silence was broken, and voices were rising. She was born in a lab, raised in shadows, designed for silence. But now the galaxy knows her name. The human who stayed, he fought not for a mission, but for her. They stood against armies, and won something greater than war. Hope. Lyra sat on a cliff, watching the twin suns rise. The wind was soft. For the first time, it didn't carry the sound of war. Behind her, Ray walked up with 2 steaming cups. "It's getting warmer," he said. "It feels alive," she replied. He handed her a drink. "So do you." She smiled. A real one. Not forced. Not broken. Down below, dozens of hybrid children like Lyra were awake now, rescued from hidden labs across systems. They laughed, ran, drew pictures. Ray watched them. "They deserve better," he said. "They'll have it," Lyra promised, "because we told the truth, and people listened." The broadcast had spread. Billions saw the footage. The Unity experiments, the lies, the cruelty. Factions fell. Leaders resigned. Some denied everything. But others stood up. Protests, reforms, questions, and hope. A voice came through. "Lyra, we heard your message. We want to help." It was from humans and aliens, together, not soldiers, builders, teachers, healers. "We want to build something new." On the screen, a map of a future city for humans, aliens, hybrids, anyone who chooses peace. No weapons, no flags, no chains, just life. Ray looked at her. "You sure you're ready to lead all this?" She looked down for a second, then up. "I was made to follow. I choose to lead." Scene. Ray's decision, a personal moment. Later, alone, Ray looked at his old medals. His old uniform, burned, bloody, heavy. He dropped it into the fire. Lyra saw from a distance, but said nothing. She understood. He wasn't burning his past. He was freeing it. Ships landed on the green moon. Different faces, different voices. No soldiers, just people. They brought seeds, tools, books, not to conquer, to build. Children from the labs watched from windows wide-eyed. Lyra told them, "This is your home now. You don't have to hide anymore." Ray lay in the grass, looking up. Lyra sat beside him. "Do you ever wonder what's next?" she asked. "Every day. What if war returns?" He turned to her. "Then we fight again, but not as weapons. As people. Together." Lyra being left behind. Ray reaching out his hand. The secret dome. The memory core. The last stand at the relay station. She was built to be silent. He was trained to fight. But both chose something harder. To feel. To trust. To stay. Names carved into it. Children. Victims. Unknown test subjects. At the bottom, Lyra's own name. Prototype 0. No longer silent. Ray added one more name by hand. Captain Ray Carter. The man who stayed. "Ray, they'll tell stories about you, you know?" "Lyra, I hope they don't." Ray raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "Because I don't want to be remembered as the one they made. I want to be remembered for what I chose to become." A city now sparkled where once there was nothing. Not a perfect world, but a beginning. A human and an alien not running anymore. They told the alien girl she was done. But a human took her hand and stayed. In the space between war and peace, they built something new. A future. A family. A choice.